All right, let's do this.
When I die and they lay me to rest, I'm gonna go to the place that's the sweetest bed. When I lay me down to die, I'm going up to the Twinkie in the, going on up to the Twinkie in the sky. That's where I'm gonna go when I die. I die. I'm gonna bite the snack that I love best. Prepare yourself, you know it's a must. Gotta have a Twinkie if you wanna trust. Just saying, Lordy, I'm so spread. Gonna meet the Twinkie in the sky. Never been a sinner. I've got a sweet tooth. I got an orange sponge cake, a creamy truth. So when I die, don't ask me why. I'm going G up to the Twinkie in the sky. Going on up to the Twinkie in the sky. That's where I'm gonna go when I die. When I die and they lay me to rest, I'm gonna snack on the Twinkie I love best.
When I die and they lay me to rest, I'm gonna go to the place that's the sweetest best.
It's a hashtag feud, the tension brews, opinions clash like unstoppable views. digital brink where patience shatters with each post and each fiery scatter. Just retweets, clashes and echoes of grins. They say that the pen is mightier than the sword. Well, mine's a keyboard. So go to war, that's what makes you feel alive. I'll take it personally, but won't take it offline. It's like a drug, it's poison in my mind. My thumb is the trigger, and I've got you in my sights. If it's all part of God's plan, I'd like to have a word with him. I'm not a fan, so take me to war. I hope it makes you feel alive. I'll take it personally, but won't take it offline.
Yeah. Welcome to Not My Rabbit Hole. Welcome to Not My Rabbit Hole. Today we're going to talk about a few things. We're going to do a follow-up about some stuff that's going on. Excuse me. Boy, every time I sing, my cat gets up, but like he likes it when I sing, huh, Pumpkin? Yeah, baby, get so excited. Yeah, Pumpkin. Okay, I'm gonna let me open the window because I think he wants to go outside. You want to go outside for a while? There you go, baby. There you go. Oh, Pumpkin. Yeah, I got the most amazing cat. Orlando's kind of like famous. I took a picture of him. He went into my refrigerator, and when I first moved into my apartment, and I got a picture of him in mid-flight, actually, and I submitted it to this calendar, and he got chosen for the month of January in 2025, which was kind of surprising to me. So he's my little buddy, and he is outside on the balcony looking out. Hi, Pumpkin. Okay, I know you're expecting me to be like raging crazy, but that's really not who I am. Although I did go off on TopFeedCoco on Sewer Town, and I re-listened to that stream, and I say I won that argument. Because let's talk about TopFeedCoco for a moment. If for those of you who don't know, TopFeedCoco is somebody who has been a regular with Hoax Wars, and another person named Eon Will, and a regular with a woman who has a channel. She goes by Liz Antoinette. Obviously, Antoinette isn't her last name, but she's an interesting lady. Well, I don't know if I would say interesting, but she's gotten herself involved in some stuff. Let's give a background a little bit on Liz. I looked at AI Griffcast did a documentary about her, which I will be doing my own commentary on in a more organized stream. This stream is just me doing, just talking about things right now, but you can expect that to be coming out. I'm going to do the Not My Rabbit Hole analysis of Liz and the AI Griffcast channel, which is, I believe, Adam Camacho, who has a lawsuit against Owen Benjamin right now. And by the way, I'm also watching in parts. I'm allowing myself to watch it because I want to get educated on it. I'm looking at the footage of the documentary footage of Berteria. Now, I know that a lot of people here that are at this channel know who Owen Benjamin is, right? But just in case there are people who are listening to me who may not know who Owen Benjamin is, he is a stand-up comedian, one of which I have been on the same lineup of in Pasadena. And matter of fact, he was on my show that I was producing with Jeffrey Peterson, which was called The Dope Show. And it was out of the Ice House Comedy Club in Pasadena, California. And he was on our show a few times. That's how I know Owen Benjamin. At one point, when all this stuff started breaking loose, I actually supported and backed Owen Benjamin and used him as an example of being right-wing council cultured on Blaze TV, which is Mark Levin, the lawyer and pundit, Mark Levin, right-wing pundit. They flew me out to St. George, I believe it was St. George, Florida. And I taped that segment on a show called Happy Hour. So when you go back to like Owen Benjamin and what I would be interested in what is going on with Owen Benjamin is because Owen Benjamin comes from my world. My comedy world. I mean, I know David Shurter is posting on his blog that I'm a porn star and all this other stuff, but really, and anybody can look me up, my name is Terry Joyce. That's my comedian name. I write, my pen name now as a journalist is Terry Joyce Randolph, which is my ex-husband's last name that I haven't removed off my name legally, right? But my maiden name, since you've all doxed it, is Olguin. That is spelled Olguin. And that is a Mexican last name. Okay? So, you know, I kind of have a feeling of affiliation to Adam Camacho, being that he is Mexican, right? And Liz has been racist towards him. Like, you know, she's called him a cockroach. She's made fun of his heritage. She's insulted him. She said things like he's lazy. Because, you know, that's like a stereotype, right? I can't stand that kind of stuff. He's eating a burrito. By the way, Adam, if you're listening to this, or if you do listen to this, that burrito looked so delicious. This woman in Australia doesn't understand how good Mexican food is and how good Mexican food is in California. Okay, New Mexico has some good Mexican food too, because they have, you know, the red and the green chilies, and you know, we just don't have that flavor here in the United States. In fact, Steven Cusada, who played Detective Gomez on Breaking Bad, is a friend of mine. He's a comedian. I used to perform there all the time. And he sent me home with packets of green chili to make for myself because I loved it so much, because it was him that turned me on to green chilies in New Mexico. Yeah, I'll name drop because I do know people. So when David Shurter wants to, matter of fact, I was in a independent film in New Mexico that he starred and produced in. Yeah, before he got Breaking Bad. Yeah, that's right. I did tons of Latino comedy nights. I know Willie Barcena. I know George Lopez. I know Gabriel Iglesias. I knew Jeff Garcia. He just passed away. I know Debbie Gutierrez. I mean, those are some names. Carlos Mencia. I know Carlos Mencia. Carlos Mencia knows me. Okay. I mean, you guys want to sit back and say that I'm a porn star and slander me, which is untrue. And then like David Shurter like vacillates. It's like, oh, she's a porn star, but she's really she was a fluffer. Let's be real here. Here's what happened. I wrote a couple of adult films that were AVN Award nominated when I was living in LA back in 2009. That is the work that really, honestly, that is the most scandalous thing that I have ever done in my entire life. Never been arrested, have a clean record. But yes, I wrote scripts for a woman named Erica McLean. See, and her husband, Clive McLean, started the Video Barely Legal franchise underneath Hustler. See, there's the Barely Legal connection. Huh? Right? And Earlier on, Denise Mattel, who, by the way, has telephone harassed me and called my job and harassed me and was written up by campus police because I was a tutor. I was tutoring anthropology. She called them up. Thomas Schoenberger's involved with it. Thomas Schoenberger contacted the faculty advisor of the Rampage, the student paper, my first student paper that I ever started writing for. While I was, working on my undergraduate degree there, I transferred to Fresno State. Y'all know I was a senior reporter for the Collegian because, Blazin Scars now, tagged me senior reporter, blah, 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 from the Fresno State Collegian just to smear my name over what happened with TopFeedCoco. Like, by the way, and just so everybody knows, I got a 4.0 in the MFA program for creative nonfiction writing. And Denise, your description of what that is inaccurate. You're writing the truth, but you're using, form of creative writing with it. But technically, I could write a nonfiction poetry book if I wanted to, and it would be in poetry if that's the format I wanted to do it in. You guys have no idea what you're talking about or who I am. And let me tell you something. It is not up to you, Blazin, or David or Thomas or anybody else to defame me on the internet and ruin who I am and what I've established in my life. I was a top 10 finalist on Last Comic Standing out of thousands of people that auditioned. I made it to the top 10. I did 6 out of the 9 episodes, and then I came back and did a 3rd season. That was on NBC. It ran on Comedy Central. And because I'm in the original cast, Ralphie May, Dat Fan, Terry Joyce, Corey Kahaney, Sean Kent, Dave Mordall, Jeff Brown, Tess Drake, Rob Cantrell. Who else am I missing? I'm missing somebody. Oh, Rich Voss. How could I miss? How could I miss Rich Voss? I have a special little place in my heart for Rich Voss. Although he tried to bang me the whole time when I was on set. But whatever. That's a whole nother story. But I was a smoker then, and they were giving me, I didn't have any cigarettes, and they were like giving me their Marlboros. Because we only went to the store one time, and I decided to hang out at Ralphie May's house and stay, with him instead of going shopping, because they let me do that. They let us not. There was a bunch of people that went to the grocery store with Corey Kahaney, and then there was and Ralphie goes, I want to go home and see my dog, and he really wanted to smoke. He really wanted to take a couple bong hits, and then he goes, and then I go, I'm going with Ralphie, but I didn't smoke any because I didn't smoke really then. And I knew that I would come back looking stoned. And and there was something in our contract that we weren't supposed to have any drug use. So, you can get kicked off the set. And so, and we had alcohol we were living in a house all together, and we had because it was a reality show. It was like Big Brother. All right. The first season was a crossover between Big Brother and, American Idol for comedians. That was how the breakdown was in Backstage West before I auditioned. And that's pretty much exactly how the show was. That is what I've done in my life. You guys can sit back and go, oh, she's a failed comedian and she's this and she's that, Oh, then I worked many years as an activist. That my video that TopFeedCoco goes, your channel doesn't get any views. I got 8.7K views for live streaming a protest here by the Central Valley Iranian American community against the Islamic regime in Iran because they are because of what's happening. There was a blackout, a massacre. The public didn't see it. And I have been writing articles about Masa Amini, who was beat to death for wearing her hijab improperly. That's how I knew them. That's what they called me to come down and do something for them. Because they know that I'm a journalist. I am a contact of theirs, and I've written 2 articles for them before I did this live stream. So when you guys sit back and you want to talk about who I am or what I do or what I'm about, I'm going to say what it is, and I can put it on my resume because I've actually really done it. You guys are not the voice of my resume. Blazin, TopFeedCoco, David Shurter, Thomas Schoenberger. And unfortunately for you guys on the internet, I have a record of that. That no matter what trash you put on my table, I will always be somebody who was a top 10 finalist in the first season of Last Comic Standing. Nobody will take that title away from me ever. Ever. Because that's what getting to that point gives me. That's what I earned from being on that show. And let me tell you something, guys. There are people that were just in the audition process or maybe was on camera for like 3 seconds and they're putting it on their resume. Think about who I was on that show. Blazin Scar, David Shurter, Thomas Schoenberger, Liz Antoinette, who doesn't know who I am and what I've done in the United States. You don't think I don't know people? You don't think I can't go and maybe talk to George Lopez still? I can. You don't think I can't talk to Peter Engel, who produced Saved by the Bell and Last Comic Standing, and say, hey, how's it going? It's me, Terry. Yeah, I can, guys. Because I earned that connection. You might think I sound egotistical and cocky or whatever, but damn it, I'm a 63-year-old woman who's done that, who's accomplished those things, who's rocked an audience and a crowd to where they're screaming after I get off stage. Oh yeah, that's happened. How do you think I made it to the top 10 if I wasn't capable of doing that? You have no idea what a great comic I am. Just because I'm not touring right now and I decided to go back and get a degree, or just because I might have struggled financially afterwards, or just because I didn't get the big sitcom in the sky and my life took a different turn to where I learned some other skills at another path to walk down in my lifetime, doesn't mean that I'm not fucking funny. Because guess what got me into the MFA program, guys? Because I write funny. Ain't that a bitch? Ain't that a bitch? Because you know what? The funny can go in a script. The funny can go in a creative nonfiction essay about me talking about my life. I might say, I think I say funny things every once in a while on my YouTube channel. Like, David Shurter saying that, you know, the sun was going to split in two and the world was going to end in 3 days, but he's still asking for donations. Like, what does he care if we're all going to burn up? Like, if you're going to die in 3 days, why do you need money? Why worry about paying for rent? I was worried about covering my rent. I was tight this month. I got it covered now, but did I cry and beg all over the internet, you know, on January 2nd and said, I need help paying my rent? No, I just knew my money was slow. Look, I'm monetized on this channel. Yeah, I earned that too. And you know what, TopFeedCoco, I have more subscribers than you do. Like, I'm almost at 2,500 subscribers. It's not big, it's not great, but it's bigger than you. Why is David Shurter talking about me? Because I have the biggest channel out of everybody else, pretty much, that is going up against this. Other than Hoax, I have more subscribers than Hoax does right now. I mean, hell, Titus can't keep a channel. What is he getting, like around $2,000 and then he's gone? Poof. He shoots himself in the foot. You know, so I'll get off my soapbox and come right back. Something because somebody said it's just I can't even wait. Okay, Ernie Shell. What about Ernie Shell? Okay, that's the guy that was with Jimmy's Dolly Vision, right? Okay, I shouldn't blank on that, but Dolly Vision, right? And Rose, Team Rose was, you know, in her, yes, yeah, Ernie Shell. Big old, I think he is one of those fake predator catcher personalities like David. I mean, I wouldn't say he's not like David Shurter, but he is, yeah. I haven't heard that name in a long time. I'm sorry, I had to say something.
The kind of guy you watch on OnlyFans, yeah. The guy is pretty twinky. He's a super twink. He's super twink.
Okay, so I just want to point something else out to just clear things up about who I am politically. All right. Because I said I was on Blaze TV and this and that. Yeah, I am kind of a person who's in the middle. I've been very liberal before, and I've claimed myself to be a Democrat, and then I was unhappy with what was going on with I got disillusioned with Obama. Okay, I'm just going to be straight out there, and I don't want to go too deep into it, but I registered independent, and then I registered as a libertarian. So, like, how I vote as a libertarian. Just so you know. I did vote for Donald Trump twice. I am disillusioned with Donald Trump. So, that's how I feel now, as a person, especially like as a reporter, like I'm trying to stay neutral in conversations. I'm respectful of what other people's opinions are. I happen to, I do have liberal ideals and what you would think about liberal ideals. I am a woman who has not had children, and I have a cat. So I resented J.D. Vance saying that I should not have a vote as much as other people. And I also noticed one of the things that TopFeedCoco criticized about me was that I didn't have any children, as if that was a mark against me as a woman, as if I'd failed as a, like, because you have grandkids and if you talk smack on the internet about people, but you have grandkids, we should just go, oh yeah, she has grandchildren. Well, you know what? That doesn't really work for me. Yes, I lived an unconventional life as a woman. I guess I was a cat who thought it was a dog. I don't know if you want to, I joke about that. I decided not to have children because I wanted to be on the road as a stand-up comedian. It was my passion. It was what was in my heart. And I believe that I had to make that choice because it's unfair to raise a child if I'm going to be self-absorbed in my own comedy career. Yes, I made that choice. I wouldn't be able to do it. If I had a child, I would have had to stop being a comedian in my mind, because then I know that as a parent, I have to give my child 100% of being a mother. So if you want to judge me on that, that's fine. I think that was a very smart choice to make, knowing myself and what I wanted in my life. Yes, I have worked amongst men for years. I am in the 5% of like basically the stand-up comedy population, especially back then. There's more women now. And I realize that when you're a public speaker or you're a comedian or whatever, a lot of people culturally see that as having a male trait. The fact that I'm mouthy and I talk and I say my opinions, apparently that's considered male. But I just say it's human. I don't think there should be a gender line on being able to speak publicly, write, or hold a power position. Because there is a certain amount of power that happens in comedy. All eyes are on you. Right? I am not ashamed for that. I am not going to stand down. I'm not going to say, oh, I should be submissive. And when it comes to, like, let's say TopFeedCoco, what I have seen come out of what he said about women, about me, about other people come from an ageism and a misogynist point of view. And it's ugly and it's degrading. It's foul. He calls women explicit, like swears at them, insults them, calls them the B word, whatever. You want to say it, he does it. And he does it with not saying who he is, not saying what his identity is, and keeping a camera, never putting a camera on. I think I've seen his face once. Maybe it was an accident, maybe it's what was whatever. But he's a man who is not willing to stand behind his words, just like Hoax Wars was. Just like Hoax Wars. And let's talk about Daniel Richard Columbus. Let's talk about him because he hid for years. He goes back to All Seen You and Thomas Schoenberger. And you know when he came on my radar, well, one of the things he did is that he made Thomas Schoenberger the man of the year in 2023. Don't you think I had some jokes about that? Yeah, I remember. I said Pepe the Frog had a bit. I said Pepe the Frog had a bigger dick than he did. I'm talking about Hoax. Now, if you look at Hoax's channel, he's got this, thing for me. It's like the 1-2 things that he has up there is a vagina joke coming back at me, and it's like really the only thing that he leaves up on his channel. I have seen Hoax say the N-word on X. The whole thing about the, having sex with little people and all that kind of stuff, that is from Hoax. That is also part of Thomas Schoenberger. Thomas Schoenberger was offered publicly, it was shown that he was going to give Shadowbox, a black PR reputation management company where they use cyber guerrilla techniques using bots, as reported by the Daily Beast, where Thomas Schoenberger and DeFango were hired by Ed Butowski, who was the guy who had, it was all about the Seth Rich thing, right? That's Thomas Schoenberger's involvement in politics, and it's in a mainstream article. You may not like the Daily Beast. You may not like Will Summers as a journalist, but it's a lot more mainstream than any one of us sitting around here with a huge publication read by millions. And there's Thomas Schoenberger's name in that article. Let's just start there, everybody, before you continue what that article was talking about. See, that's the network and the leg. It looks that way, right? I mean, you're all, Blazin's right there defending Thomas Schoenberger. Thomas Schoenberger is sharing Blazin stuff. She's sharing nasty troll media stuff. He's sharing David Shurter stuff. David Shurter is now admitted that he's repeating Thomas Schoenberger's information, which he has cooked up about all of us. Well, Jesse and Pavana way before I showed up. And when he was wooing me, Thomas Schoenberger, when Thomas Schoenberger wanted me to be Team Thomas Schoenberger, he was showing me the same things that David Shurter is saying on his channel right now. And I could prove that. So now there's all these lawsuits going around, the whole thing with Laura Dilley and all that kind of stuff, and me being mentioned in the MSU article. Oh, and he had to make sure that it was said that I was a finalist on NBC's Last Comic Standing and a porn writer. I bet that, that probably, that was a big coup for Thomas Schoenberger, but I'll tell you what. The journalist also reports that Thomas Schoenberger is a felon on stalking charges. And guess who tipped that off to him, Thomas? That was me, when he called up to get my response for what you were threatening me of. And you know what? He had to fact check it, Thomas. Otherwise, you could be suing their publication right now. But you're not, are you? So let me ask you guys, how is it that you are aligning yourself and having this morality that you're bigger than this and that you have and spread his stuff when he is actually a felon on stalking charges? How do you justify that, Blazin, Liz, David Shurter? I mean, I'm just curious. Like, where is your argument? Like, you lost legitimacy right there just by that fact. Because I'll tell you what, I'm not a felon on stalking charges. I have no felony charges of anything of any kind. Okay, so Liz. Let's talk about Liz for a minute. All right. So she wrote a book. This is what I can remember. She wrote a book called From Heroin to Christ. And somehow, she got some PR for her book. And then after her book was around and she was getting all this stuff, and I guess she was like making money and this and that, and changing her image. But some of the things that is said that she did to children while she was on heroin is really frightening. Well, I'm not going to talk about it right now, but if you look at AI Griftcast, you can watch the video. You can hear what exactly happened. Then, okay, her book gets some bad press, basically, on the internet while they were claiming her to be a white supremacist. Isn't that interesting? Isn't that interesting? Because you know what? Blazin's really mad at me because she was basically in the title of her videos, because I was criticizing her. She was showing videos where people denying the Holocaust, that it wasn't 6 million, that there were no gas chambers. And she did 2 videos on her last channel that she lost that said, yes, there were no gas chambers. Terry Joyce Randolph, my full legal name. And then I found some stuff where Blazin was, calling another YouTuber the N-word. And I went on that, and that got out there. And then that connected me to the Urban Disciple, who said that I stick with Terry. I said, I stick with Urban Disciple. Oh, then Blazin, what Blazin did. Let's talk about what Blazin did for a moment. She put my legal name, my name, or my name that I'm identified, Terry Joyce, doesn't matter. It's almost worse to put Terry Joyce up there because that's my real branding. That's how people know me. They know Terry Joyce. They don't know Terry Olguin. I have a name. So when you put my name in that defamation, you're using me for clout. You're using me for clout, not the other way around. Right? I mean, let's get real here. Blazin, you're saying Fresno State. I have published articles on AI. My beat for last semester was artificial intelligence. I was the only person writing about it. Yeah, you can find me, Blazin, because you want to smear me. Because you're part of the Schoenberger Shadowbox hoax wars. Because, hoax is right there connected with Liz and TopFeedCoco. How, the whole, like, for example, you notice I haven't talked about David Shurter. He's gone off 5-6 videos, whatever. I have not done a stream about David Shurter over the past 5 or 6 streams. You want to know why? Because the Liz thing is more in the Liz TopFeedCoco hoax wars connection, knowing the background that I do know about hoax wars and Frank Bacon and Thomas Schoenberger, and Frank Bacon was Tyrone Simpson, and how they had these people do, have fake profiles and create drama and harass people. And you know what? I have been watching Daniel Wright. Well, I'm not saying hoax wars. I've been watching his racism, the Confederate flags on, the heavy duty, male right wing. I'm saying patriarchal male kind of. You're women, but you're not nice to women. You're not good to women. I feel a little bit of it. This is my opinion. I get a little bit of an incel vibe from Hoax Wars. Soft little voice. Also, very intoxicated on his streams. Notice that, like, why are these men drinking? Is that the kind of people that Thomas Schoenberger can hook up into a network to bully people on the internet and defame them on his behalf? I mean, you can say, well, oh, it's not connected, but when you go to the Daily Beast article and you go to this and you get other people's testimonies, you realize it. But is it beyond Thomas Schoenberger? Because how do the same players that have been doing this for Thomas end up over in the Owen Benjamin camp with Liz? How come they have their foot over there too as well? You see, well, where is the money? Where is the money? Well, you know what? There's some Steam It money that these guys were getting years ago. There's one video with All Seeing You and Hoax Wars where they made over $1,000. All Seeing You has admitted that she was paid well by these guys. And she's very specific about what she was paid to do, which is this. So when you talk about a black PR company, we talk about a company like Shadowbox, the company that, Thomas was saying that he was going to give to Hoax Wars. They are doing exactly that description. So who are these people that have, I guess, fallen into this little, I don't know, paradigm to do that? I'm not looking at my chat yet. I'm going to speak for a while because it's just kind of like, I just want to let my thoughts out for the moment. Like, I just want to think about things. I want to pontificate. I want to ask questions about who these people are. So Liz, let's get back to Liz. Liz, has this bad press. And then all of a sudden, with the AI Griftcast, they show reason or, that she was needing to, get some clout on the internet. Clout Owen Benjamin. She was going to use some Owen Benjamin clout. I'm going to tell you, Owen Benjamin has way more clout than I do. Way more. But, we're like 3 degrees away from separation. I mean, you say we've bumped in our who we are and what we've done in the entertainment business. Also here, in a way, we kind of we've bumped into each other, and this is bumping into me again. Ain't that interesting? Like, I always ask, like, why are there coincidences like that? How is it that I even know an Owen Benjamin and this is happening? Like, to me, like, I look at things like, oh, this is kind of interesting here. And there's TopFeedCoco hiding behind a camera just like Hoax, doing the same thing. And they have a pattern to it. And they take something that's not really related to what they're talking about, but they make it, they amplify it, or they give their own viewpoints on it. Like a mainstream media show, when they're talking about politics and they have all their people trying to tell you what to think about the politics. Only these guys are even dirtier because they lie with what they're saying. And they have one thing that they want to do is to ruin your reputation and your credibility, among other things. But that's really the primary goal. Dirty people, like dirty doing, I don't want to say dirty people, but they're doing dirty, underhanded things. They're lying. And yet, Liz says that, she went from heroin to Christ and she's a Christian. And if you look at her channel, she has all these scriptures, kind of like David Shurter, like if you want to compare Liz to David Shurter, because David Shurter's also brought religion and his form of shamanism or whatever. Look at Thomas Schoenberger. He's got Sophia music. That's Gnosticism. He says he has there's hidden occult meanings in his music for the followers of Cicada. There's a spiritual manipulation to this demographic. Oh, Angela Parra Disney, lying about me and accusing me of things I've never done, working with Hoax. Because you know what Hoax did? Hoax said that I was trafficking my moderator's children and said disgusting things post his death, including saying it again on Christmas Eve, of which Nathan Stolman had to leave his stream to go see Hoax, his stream, when apparently there's this, whole thing about how they're not getting along, which I don't really believe. Why would you go see somebody's stream if you were like not agreeing with what they did on the internet or to you? See, I don't understand how everybody just kind of recoagulates in this particular group and all of a sudden they're together and they're okay with each other, what they've done. I'll tell you right now, none of you will be okay with me. Ever. I will never trust you. You know what? You can say, I was wrong. I apologize, whatever. I would accept that. I would forgive you, whatever. But I really wouldn't want to never have any contact with you ever. I think I have a right to say that. That's how I roll. None of you would be invited to my house, as trashy and cheap and low income you think I look like. You're not welcome here. You're not welcome on my channel. All right? That's how I am. I don't play. TopFeedCoco that night, this is the whole thing everybody wants to talk about. Oh, so awful. You're so awful to him. I stood up to him. Yeah, no, I didn't talk soft or, I let him have it. I let him know what I was thinking. The night before on Sewer Town, Jesse was playing a video of, it was really a receipt of Hoax Wars taking his daughter's pictures when she was under the age of, she was 16, a minor, and putting them up on his channel, saying the fact that she had her Instagram account and had those pictures, somehow that incriminated Jesse and Pavana. And made, and the whole thing is, they're trafficking teens and all this kind of stuff. That's their big thing, right? It was so screwy. David Shurter even said that I was like, that Barely Legal didn't belong to Larry Flint, but it actually belonged to Pavana, and I was actually making porno with her. She was my boss. Like, how stupid is that? That I can't even, like, really, you people can just Google Barely Legal and know that it was always belonged to Larry Flint and Hustler. Like, we live in the age of the internet. We got ChatGPT now. Don't tell me that, that there are people who are actually going to believe that in any way, shape, or form. And let me tell you something. It doesn't matter really about somebody who might be twisted and really believe what David Shurter says. I feel sorry for them, but if we were to go down into brass tacks, the court systems, legally, what's going on, any type of like real analysis, right there, people would go, this guy's lying, just on that basis, because he's wrong about barely legal. And guess who else did it? Denise. They called my job with that stuff to try to get me fired. That's what it went to. It went into my personal life, and it continues to go into my personal life today. Because when Blazin is putting like my standoff with TopFeedCoco after TopFeedCoco, when Jesse was playing that video that Hoax created, doing commentary on what they are doing to him and his daughter and his family, TopFeedCoco Googled all over his daughter, made disgusting remarks about the size of her breasts, and said foul, disgusting things. And I was in the chat. And I called him a CHAOMO. I called him Top Feed. You know, what rhymes with porno, pretty much. Attracted to minor people. Why would you come up and say something about a photo of somebody's daughter when they were when they were a minor? And then Liz went and flipped the script and made it, and Blazin and everybody else joined her stream, and they flipped it and made Jesse to be the perpetrator, when in fact it was really TopFeedCoco and them. And then, you know, there's videos of Blazin taking a video that Pavana made about her daughter getting sponsorship for you know, I think she was it was what, jujitsu or something like that, with music and everything, and went through it and said the same kind of thing that the TopFeedCoco said about her daughter, and said vile, disgusting things about her, and made it guilty. Like, oh, look at this, you're showing this, you're showing that, you're showing this. She's lifting weights and stuff like that. She's wearing a sports outfit, and she's all, you know, saying, why is she dressed like that? Well, that's what you go to the gym in. Like, it was so, like, just so twisted, and I thought it was perverse. I thought it was really, like, sick. And then they sit back and they don't realize that it's their behavior that's not appropriate. I mean, you know, there are teenagers that do have Instagram accounts and, you know, TikTok and whatever else is more popular for a younger demographic. Some parents allow them to do that. It is okay for them to have an account. Now, you know, you might go, oh, you might have your own feelings. You might, as a parent, you might have, you know, different ideas how you want your child to be on the internet. Or, you know, there's some people that post their kids and they're innocent when they post it. They're just sharing, like if they're on Facebook, they're just sharing their family or whatever with friends, you know, that they have on Facebook, not realizing what damage that could do. There are some, you know, influencers that put their kids as part of their show. And did their kid have a decision to be part of a show? Like, where is the ethics in this? I mean, these are all kinds of things for discussion. But to take that and just automatically say that, well, because they did this, they are guilty of child trafficking and stuff like this and abusing their daughter, and then actually verbally abuse their daughter, is a tactic that these guys are doing. Yeah. And that's what I witnessed. And then when I was calling TopFeedCoco out in the chat, he was bringing up the whole hoax wars. I've had sex with, you know, little people. I'm a porn star. I'm a geriatric this. Like, the wig, like, I mean, how many times did TopFeedCoco have to talk about a wig I was wearing? That's all Thomas Schellenberger and Hoax Wars. All of it. And that night, I didn't say anything about that. The first night with TopFeedCoco, I just said, I'm not. This is too toxic for me. I'm going to leave. But when he came back the next time and he was going off and doing things, I was like, that's it. I'm done. I want to go. I'm going to go on the show and I'm going to say something to him. And yeah, I let him have it. I let him have it. And I still stand by my words. I still stand by what I said. And I stand by what I said about what happened right now. I would sign it on an affidavit. This is true. I would make this a court document statement. That's how truthful I am on what I saw and think happened. And I could show receipts to back up what I'm saying. Because you can just watch Jesse's show and see and verify what I'm saying to you right now. The only thing that TopFeedCoco could end up saying to me in response was that I was retarded. And let me tell you something, TopFeedCoco. You don't get a 4.0 the first year you take your master's program if you're retarded. I am far from being having a low IQ. Even as a stand-up comic, most stand-up comics are smart. Just put it that, there's one point, I think it was Omni Magazine, the top 3 professions of the most intelligent people, and number 3 was comedians. I did a 4.0 last semester with 16 units, finishing up my degree that I graduated with a 3.77 grade point average. I graduated with high honors, magna cum laude. And you guys want to sit back and say that I put up with this stuff going on, and the stress and everything, and people telling me that they're going to meet me on campus, and the fear producing, and I'm going to do this to you and that to you. And I mean, the latest is that apparently, they're trying. They called to have me 5115, and they're supposed to show up at my door at any minute now. That's the newest for me, and I still got a 4.0 last semester. And I'm 63 years old. I went back to college 40 years later to get a degree. And what comes with a degree? I know you guys want to put down degrees and stuff like that, especially journalism. I learned about marketing, social media, public relations, filmmaking. I took 2 filmmaking classes. I took a script writing class too. I know how to write articles. I know how to blog. I know how to edit. I know how to format a show. I know how to do videos. I know how to do news packages. I would say I'm your sleeping giant, because I'm ready to go. And I'll do it on my own platforms. I'll work for me. Okay? So that's what went down with TopFeedCoco. TopFeedCoco is not a victim. Liz is not a victim. Oh, okay, let's go a little bit more on Liz about the Owen Benjamin thing. So this is to my understanding. I'm going to try and wrap this up. So Liz, Owen Benjamin got this idea, saw some property and said, oh, I want to make like a camp and, I guess an off-grid living kind of thing outside of the system, right? And so, he's, there's footage of him like milking a cow on the documentary. So he's got cows, he's got his own livestock. He's, being resourceful. And you know what? Hey, we're living in a day and age, and like what's going on with like the climate and everything like that. And it is good to know that you are resourceful. I mean, I've got my, I got tons of survival food. I went so nuts on this. I have so much survival food that I could probably feed the, half of this apartment building for at least, a month or more. I mean, like, I was thinking about doing a cooking show of like, with your survival food, and just see how it tastes, and like what we'd have to do to not only survive, but be able to like actually digest your cuisine. But that being said, what happened is Owen Benjamin went out and crowdsourced. By the way, speaking of crowdsourcing, this QR code up on my screen right now is for a friend of Gio's. They're a family. They lost their car, and there's a GoFundMe that was made for his friend to get help. And so I'm giving a good turn today. I'm sure they're gonna like give me shit, go, oh, this fake GoFundMe, whatever. No, but really, it's this guy's in need, and it's good to help people. I don't have much money, I'm a student, but I do have a platform, and if I can help somebody else out, for my friend Gio, or just anybody in general, if you would like to donate to Gio's friend, there's the QR code in this video right now. Okay, so that being said, where was I in this? Okay, so they were doing a crowdsourcing, and a lot of people gave money, checks, all this kind of stuff. But, the original deal, the original property that already had houses on the property had actually been already done. They gave it to another bidder. So they lost it. So Owen Benjamin went out and said, all right, I'm willing to refund you. Or if you want to keep it there while we look for something else, whatever. So he got another property. More people came in and funded. Now, here's what Liz did, and here's something that a lot of these guys do, right? She wasn't really honest. She went in and she donated to other websites for other things for Owen Benjamin, but was never a part of the donation of the original bacteria or any other thing that had to do with any of its properties. So she went into these other things that were like for Owen himself. I think there might have been some merch involved even, that equated to be about $400. Then she, went back to Owen Benjamin and asked for a refund, because she says, well, if you're not going to go to the original property that you lost the deal on, then I want my money back, because I don't agree with this new thing. But then Owen Benjamin came back and said, no, you don't, I'll look it over. But then they decided that she had donated in these other funds that had nothing to do with that one. Therefore, they were not obligated to give her money back. At which point, like, Liz, did a big campaign against Owen Benjamin, and all of a sudden somehow now hoax is involved with this. I got a question. How is it that, like, why hoax? Because hoax is notorious already for doing this type of, harassment and basically cyber stalking, lies, defamation. He has association to Nathan Stoltman. He has association to Thomas Schoenberger, Kerry Wolf, all seen you, right? Frank Bacon, Tyrone Simpson. There's this whole other history of hoax. But then all of a sudden, he is over on the other side with Liz and Owen Benjamin. All of a sudden, this is something for him to get involved with. So I'm wondering if hoax just isn't like a person for hire for these black PR people, right? I mean, if Thomas Schoenberger is willing to give hoax a shadow box, then, or which doesn't really exist anymore. I mean, there was really nothing to give, but he was making this big statement as if he's crowning hoax to be what that is. See, It's the symbolization of what it is. So that's exactly what hoax is doing. So hoax basically is, I guess, for hire for Liz, really, to go into the same kind of thing to Owen Benjamin, which is what happened. And guess who came in the mix? TopFeedCoco. TopFeedCoco, who we don't know who that is. We don't know what his real name is. And I believe Eon Will's in there. But we do know who he is now. And apparently he lives in Fresno. You know what? So the Eon Will, I hope we never see each other face to face in the same city. I really don't ever want to see you or run into you. Just saying. So, that being said, right? So this is happening, and I really wasn't paying attention. Adam Camacho was with Liz initially for a while, because and you know what he said in Jesse's chat, that he had some interaction with Blazin and that she was nice to him. But now this, right? And there was this whole, of course, I can see where, Adam is now having a lawsuit against Owen. And they, were part of, this, Liz had already started this drama with Owen. So this is a natural thing to happen when you feel like you have a group of people that are like supporting you. Like originally, like when I had Denise Mattow on my show, and I was going over these predator catcher communities, which, by the way, I was talking about Dolly Vision, which was connected to Ernie Shell, as an example of how they got involved in this other case, and they obstructed the police, basically, and they were grifting a bunch of money on these particular stories. Yeah, I did cover that. And I had Denise on, and Denise was like, I don't want to go into all of that stuff, but there was a person within this predator catcher community that had, a clip where she was saying that her computer was seized, it was investigated by the FBI, and she was part of a predator catcher community. Now it's been matched up to something else, and I know where it's verified and why that was happening. And, she's no longer the case, and whatever. So I just want to close that conversation. But in that, that's when Blazin Scar showed up in my chat for the first time with Thomas Schoenberger. And Sewertown was there. Jesse was there. Jesse and I was viewed as a Thomas minion. And for a while, I was on their camp because I didn't understand what was happening until about 6 weeks later, which I said, I'm done. I know you guys are not the good guys. You really are doing this. And I began to have a whole different understanding about what's happening. So I'm sure, I feel like maybe Adam Camacho's situation with when he was hanging with Liz is kind of the same thing that I had happened to Thomas, because you have all these people that are willing to back you and support somebody else attacking you. Okay. But what happened was Liz went to Owen Benjamin. Matter of fact, 4 weeks ago, even, her title, I watched most of this video. The title of the video is how she, asked Owen Benjamin might come on the show, or something with Owen Benjamin being getting headway and getting Owen Benjamin to be on her stream now. And somehow there was a flip. And, she asked him a while ago, and then all of a sudden they started attacking Adam Camacho. So far to, again, make racist slurs, say, awful things about him, whatever, constantly talking about him. It goes on and on and on and on and on. So she flips, and she almost, all of a sudden she's defending Owen Benjamin. There's this guy named, is it Alan Powell? Is it Adam or Alan? I think it's Alan. So this guy named Alan apparently they're seen as an associate to Adam Camacho's. But last night, when they were the other night when they, or on one of these other shows, I think it was this last show that I was listening to, Adam Powell was in her chat still associated with her. But this guy was making threats of meeting Owen Benjamin, and then they were like, and then Owen Benjamin calls the police and puts a narrative that this was part of his legal lawsuit against Adam Camacho, and this guy making these threats was associated to him. But in fact, if that's the case, why is that guy hanging out in Liz's chat? Who's basically going now against Adam Camacho, and Owen Benjamin is fabricating that story. I find that to be interesting. I mean, are you guys, because if you guys are a group of people who like to troll people, you're on some sort of like, whatever. Doesn't matter who you do it for, apparently. It's like flipping, like, it's like me going, like, sometimes being right, sometimes being left. You go over there. Now you're team Owen Benjamin? Like, how does that happen? Explain that to me. If is he paying you? Is Owen Benjamin using black PR now against Adam Camacho to create a negative narrative against the lawsuit? I mean, I don't have the answer to that. I'm not saying that that's a statement. I'm just curious why that's happening. Why the flip? Did he pay your $400 back, Liz? I mean, Liz went in and streamed about me immediately with Blazin and everybody else after I had my moment with TopFeedCoco. Oh, I thought I brought my glasses over here. Wait. What did I do? Okay, well, I have another pair over there. I'll play a song. We're going to be back. I'm going to see what's going on in the chat. This one is about Sarah Rachel Adams.
Sarah the psychic, intuitive healer, the shroom dealer squealer. She almost died. But Sarah lied. No empathy for the past. Just the wicked spell she casts and puts the shower black. Shroom and fear. Shroom and fear. Shroom and fear. Shroom and fear.
All right, wait. Let me stop this. Hold on. Hi. Okay, so I'm looking at the chat and yeah. Okay. So yeah, smash that like button. Thanks. I'm gonna have to make you a moderator. I have no moderators right now. I just but if you guys subscribe to me and I see you regular, I will try to do that again. Is breakfast burrito a thing? Absolutely, Aiken Drum. Absolutely. Matter of fact, I haven't eaten yet. So when you say breakfast burrito, I just go yum. Oh my god. Oh yeah. Sounds like we're dealing with minus the famous part, of course. Okay, so John, hi John. Nor are they the arbitrators of intelligence. You'd have to be funny to deal with David Shurter. I don't think anyone can deal with him without a sense of humor. This is true. And I have pulled up a song for him as well. Yeah, the Summer Wells grifting community. That's exactly right. He's from the community that you're in. And boy, is he something else. Yeah, he is. He really is. You know, maybe, I don't know, we'll see. He would be a good person to do a whole deep dive into Ernie Shell and like, put it all together. Yeah. Ernie Shell. Yep. And then Derek says another much like Christine Joanna Hart, I feel. I don't know, you're saying me? Oh yeah. Or Sarah. Seem like tough cookie to me. That's not scared of much on this platform. No, I'm not scared. I'm removing my own comments where I mention people's names out of respect. That's nice. And God knows how many other accounts. The stuff David says about you is some of the worst shite I've ever seen someone say to people online. Thank you. Yeah, it's really, really bad. It's really bad. It's I don't know. Who's worse, TopFeedCoco or David Shurter? I'm going to say probably David Shurter. Yeah. I don't know. I think my name is probably copyrighted because of it's registered under SAG too, Screen Actors Guild. That's so it's yeah, they can't be impersonating, and that's exactly what Blazing Scar did. She did it to me twice. She did two different channel. She changed her channel name to my name, and then did videos about me, and then had my images there. She even used my own image as her thumbnail in her on her last channel that she lost. And when you talk about cyber stalking, like I guess like some of these guys got confused. I got wind that they got confused about what I was saying about that. That is part of cyber stalking. If you use somebody's name and image to harass them, and that is cyber stalking. So that is exactly what Blazin Scar has done. Aiken says, I get it, but their answers mean nothing. Their opinions bear no weight. They are not repositories of truth, and their statements are sterile and a useless group genuflections. Yeah, that's true. They have nothing but damaged lives and false hope. David is boring. Him screaming vulgar things about kids at a computer string every day is creepy. Yeah, I think it's creepy. Yeah. And like the things that he said, oh, hi, Pavana and Sewer King's here. Oh, you guys are all here. Yeah, he says creepy things. Oh, so you're gonna okay, so Sewer King's on tonight as well at 7 p.m. EST, which is 4 p.m., which is about I'm talking about like, PST, right? Okay. I'm PST, you're EST. But for me, that's 4. So if you are on the East Coast, then it's going to be in 3 hours, basically I'll be there. I'll be there right there. But some trolling type groups infiltrate all communities. Buzz Jr. says some of these communities are doing the exact same things and using similar names, choosing similar names and faces. Very, odd. And you know what? I want to bring in, we're going to get into a little bit of Sarah and David Shurter. But Sarah, it has been, and I found an old video where a few months ago I'm talking about Sarah hanging around in nasty troll media's threads. Sarah showed up underneath a sock account called Starfire Girl 1888 or Girl 888. Sarah R. Adams is her last marketing was a multidimensional life coach that I had interviewed years ago. She used to be Max Spears' girlfriend. And I interviewed Max Spears, who was part of the super soldier genre, coined by Carrie Cassidy from Project Camelot. And that interview happened 10 years ago. Matter of fact, I on Halloween, it wasn't Halloween when I interviewed him. I know people, oh, it's Halloween, it's, you know. But on Halloween, which happens to be my mom's birthday. Oh no, okay, whatever. Anyway, I had gone to lunch with my mom celebrating her birthday, and then I came back and I'm like, I'm gonna live stream. And then I looked, for some reason, like my interview with Max had a huge uptick, and I'm like, what's going on here? Well, it was 10 years, so maybe it was being pushed. I don't know, but so I ended up talking about him that night. Again, and a lot of my content over the years has been from freedom of choice or whatever. I had, from day one, I was investigating and doing commentary as a host on American Freedom Radio about the death of Max Spears, and I feel like I've done a lot of deep research on it. One really good show to watch, I'm going to give a shout out to Taj Investigates, because Taj and I are one of those people that had, when he was, Sarah's business partner, we had a falling out. Now they've had a falling out because, well, this is one of the things I know, is that Taj took a loan out for Sarah for her business, and she defaulted on the loan. That's part of it. But they had a break, a split, like this year, very recently. And so what Sarah Rachel Adams did, because I've been investigating Sarah, I found out that she was a grifter, a false psychic, and that she was doing practices that I believed, calling herself a healer with certain healing modalities that I felt were harming people. Well, I'm pretty much right, because let's fast forward to today, and Sarah Rachel Adams did a mushroom ritual where she used a synthetic mushroom, and it was supposedly being filmed for a documentary. And the people that were almost died, was one of them was Amanda Harvey, who is Jason Harvey's wife, who is Steve Harvey, the comedian's son. And both Sarah and Amanda Harvey had to be intubated, and they went to the hospital twice. And there's another person named Stephen Cambion from True Seekers. He's been investigating Sarah Rachel Adams, and I had been doing that at the same time, like about 5 years ago. And we have both done shows together about Sarah Rachel Adams. So there's an affiliation. By the way, this is what Sarah loves to do. Like, she loves to call CPS on people's children's. And she called CPS because of the fact that recently Stephen Cambion covered the body cam footage of the 911 call when they were taken to the hospital and intubated. In retaliation, Sarah called CPS on him, and he has an autistic son. Malicious. She's called CPS several times on Haley Meyer, who was James Casbold's ex, another alleged super soldier. Several times. She has threatened, if David Shurter, because here's what Sarah did recently, because I was covering her and then doing the police investigations. I got copies of the police interviews of Sarah and Jason Harvey and everybody. And I not only did I play them in their pure form, but I also did my own commentary on it. She's enraged right now at me. She has texted me several times on my phone. She's tried to email me. She showed up today in Daniel Ryan Dowd's chat to come at me, while David Shurter is going off and saying things like I had something to do with the demise of Max Spears, when it clearly my interview on my channel is like the way bigger than anything he's ever said about Max Spears on his channel. So I think there's a bit of jealousy going on with David Shurter. So Sarah offered David Shurter $5,000. David Shurter has admitted it. Matter of fact, I should probably show that video. Let's show the video. But it's on my channel. It's a short of it's a clip of David Shurter admitting to Sarah offering him $5,000 to take me down. But he didn't get the money. When he realized who Sarah really was, and that she has, like, I mean, the National Enquirer's covered like this OD that happened. They didn't mention Sarah in the article, but it is Sarah. So, you know, Sarah is like, again, when you talk about media, when you talk about like where Sarah's standing right now, and her business and what happened with her business, because she says in those videos she was their teacher. She was a Reiki healer, that Amanda had problems with her liver and she was healing her, but she was going to give her a synthetic form of mushrooms. I mean, you know, seriously, how do you think how do you think somebody who already has a liver illness is going to handle that? Sarah, I'm just curious. Was that smart on your part? She's probably listening. I think that if we're going to, if we came, like, because Sarah came on my show, I interviewed her about healing modalities. And I feel like it's my responsibility to say, she's not a healer. She's actually harming people. You should not give her money. She charges thousands of dollars for what she does. She gloats about the amount of money that she makes, taking pictures of herself in a Jaguar and all this kind of stuff. She told David Shurter she knew all these celebrities and she with billions of dollars, and I'll pay you $5,000 to make up a story that her ex-business partner Taj and I were blackmailing and extorting her, and David Shurter ran with it. Just like David Shurter runs with everything that Thomas Schoenberger is telling him right now. Just like David Shurter ran with a guy named Travis LeBlanc, contacting him on X, and he's a white nationalist, and the receipt or the source that he had against Gabe Hoffman was part of a site called Kiwi Farms, which is a hate forum that was taken down by Cloudflare. And those are the sources and the people and the things, and he just repeats what they say and maliciously attacks people. And we should not put up with that on the internet. You know, there may not be laws in place right now to talk about what this is, but maybe what we're doing is creating those laws by making people aware of what people do on the internet. And they call it black PR. I say that black PR is criminal. I say you're cyber stalking and harassing and doxing my number and calling my jobs and harassing me on the phone is criminal. That's targeted harassment on the internet. And there needs to be something done about it. And these people should not get away with it. And most of all, they are not saving any children. Let's just take that off the table right now. So, hi AI Griff Patrol. That's what my case will do, hopefully. I hope so, too. I mean, I have to say, the suffering, like, I'm like, I know they go, oh, you're a Karen. My mom knows, my family knows, my personal friends know the suffering I went through with this, how it affected me. when they spread rumors about you like this on the internet and you are looking for work and you have this kind of drama going around with you, you are like kind of a liability to anybody. So it is the direct reason is to make it so that you are not employable, and not being employable means that you may not be able to survive and feed and live in the society. So they're basically trying to kill you and your family if you have children or whatever. Yeah, it's 24/7. And you know what? Here's my question, Adam, is like, if it's 24/7, how is it that they can spend that much time on it? Like, where is this, like, and then that's when it comes in, like, well, how are they feeding their family? Is this it? It's all chaos. Anti-slap law goes into effect in Michigan in April. Good, because that is exactly what is, like, this is Pavana. They have been, they same thing to me. Thomas Schoenberger tried to send me a retraction letter. By the way, it was taped up with Scotch tape and stuff so thick, and the exhibits were laughable. And he wanted me to retract my talking about him, or he was going to sue me. And the reason why the journalist at Michigan State University contacted me, because that's what he told the journalist, she's not in the lawsuit, but I might do her later. I mean, not do her, but sue her later. And I was like, look, I was taking a media law class that semester. By the way, I got an A in it. And when it came to this, when it came to defamation and slap suits and all this well, you bet I was there to learn about it. And I knew when the other student journalist called me and said, "You're not in the lawsuit," I go, "Of course I'm not, because I live in California and it's in another state. He cannot include me in that lawsuit." And his lawyer is a Michigan lawyer. I mean, maybe they can do Indiana or whatever. I don't know what the laws are there, but if he's going to come sue me, he's got to come to my turf. And let me tell you something. I don't think that like the fact that he thinks at this point that he can sue me is laughable. Absolutely laughable. He has no jurisdiction on either of us. Yeah, that's true. He doesn't. Like, what it's the same thing as nasty troll media trying to give me a copyright strike for showing footage of his thumbnail showing in a StreamYard Zoom-like panel show where he chose to have his thumbnail instead of his face on a third-party video. It's like they will, that's also like trying to stop me from talking about what's going on in free speech and whatever. He's abusing YouTube's copyright option to stifle what I'm saying about what they're saying about me. And Liz was on that show. Right? Amplification is usually performed by a signal being fed back to the input. Pavana says we were dismissed, but he filed a motion to vacate the dismissal just to cause trouble. Wow. It's threats and another way to keep you on the back foot and explaining everything you do. Yep. AI Grift Patrol says, Liz tried to copyright strike me for using her picture on the back of her book and tagged Elon. Wow. I don't know why that makes me laugh. Like Eric tagging Elon Musk, like he's going to do something about it. Oh my God. I'm seeing if I missed anything here. Okay, so I think this High Lord of Darkness, I have the best hand. if you had a good partner, you better have a good hand. I have the best hand. And then I can laugh. When I say Lord of Darkness, I just go, I don't know, it cracks me up because I'm sure that's getting everybody all excited. Oh my God, she has a friend named Lord of Darkness. She's evil. You know what I did today? Oh, David, Thomas, everybody. I tagged Lucian Greaves today. I don't know the guy, right? But I said, hey, this guy is saying that I'm trafficking children with you, and we've never met before. Do you know this guy? Have you ever met him? I'm a journalist and a podcaster. Yeah, I want to know if David Shurter has ever interacted with Lucian Greaves. It's really sad, right? I mean, let's think about it. We do have freedom of religion, right? I mean, I wouldn't be a Satanist. I wouldn't be a Satanist, I wouldn't be a Satanist because, you're going to be a loser even when you're dead. But I actually think that there's, a positive thing about being a Satanist. One is that you would really always have a great Halloween costume. Two, you would never have to confess your sins because, confessing your sins would be, considered bragging. And, third, it would be really fun to invite Jehovah's Witnesses into your home. To me, it like, what is this really? Okay, so just because somebody, and you know what, I had to cover the Pagan Festival one time, when I was working on John Melicar's show, and they wanted to send me to the Pagan Festival, and I was scared. I was like, no, I don't want to go. I'm scared. I was that way then. Because, I brought a friend with me. We went out there, and, and I interviewed the head of the satanic, there was a satanic church that had a dating service for Satanists. And I thought that was hilarious. And I was like, okay, I got to find this guy. And I finally found him, and he had a mullet haircut, and he was wearing this white thing with a he had a priest collar on. And he goes, yeah, man, I just went to Cheetahs and everything. And I was like, oh no, this is not what I was expecting here. And so I'm talking to him, whatever, on the radio show, and then at the very end, like he goes, oh, you're really cute. Would you like to go out? I'd love to take you out to dinner. I'm like, no. I'm like, oh my God, how am I going to tell my mom? Oh, Mom, I'm having dinner with the head of the satanic church. Like, what? She'd be like, I don't think this is a really good choice for you. But so anyway, but there are so many different sects of how people practice Satanism. And like, when I went to these different booths, they kept saying, we're not part of the Anton LaVey. We're not part of the Anton LaVey group. And I'd be like, okay. So, and they would say things like, we believe in the goat god and we're really all about sex. And I was like, okay, so there was this underbelly of, if you're going to culturally examine it, there's this underbelly of people that want to have some sort of sexual freedom. And I know I'm going off on a tangent here, but go with me on this for a second. Because I was watching this documentary about this lady, the Jody Hildebrandt story. It's a documentary, and she was an LDS, Mormon, and there's a whole thing about sexuality. And I watched a documentary once where it said, if you can control people's sexuality, you can control them. So, I think in a way, like some of the religions that developed where there was this freer sexual self was a big appeal to people. And, one of the things that Anton LaVey did was he had all these celebrity people and, the lady that was beheaded, the blonde and everything, there was this sexual thing that was going on. And I think that maybe like just on a primal level, that is, an appeal for people when they want to go into some of like that. I can't speak for everybody, but again, to take a demographic or a religion just because you think it's evil, it's still protected underneath the Constitution. And just because they practice a certain belief doesn't mean that they're trafficking children. That's my point. Like, if somebody is pagan and they are a witch, or they practice the occult, or they're a Buddhist, or they are a Lutheran, or they're a Christian, or they're a Catholic priest, it doesn't mean that they're pedophiles. And so, but what David wants to do is he wants to go out and or any of these people, because what Thomas Schoenberger does and what these people do and what Hoaxworks does, hanging out with all the predator catcher, is they pedo smear people. It's like the new communism. It's like the new Red Scare. I mean, isn't that what they've been doing to people in Hollywood? And I'm not saying that they're not guilty of them. I mean, by the way, if you want to talk about something, let's talk about Timothy Busby. Boy, he really is getting busted for it. So, but it's something. It's like, well, how do you ruin somebody? Well, call them a pedo. How do you get them fired? Call their job and say that they're grooming your students, like Denise Mattow did. It's malicious. It's defamation. It's ruining somebody's income. And yeah, I think that people should be sued for it. If I had the money, I would be suing Thomas Schoenberger right now. I would get that lawyer. I would get that going. I would get that paperwork going, and I would serve him. And not only would I serve him, but what I learned that anybody else that repeats what Thomas Schoenberger says can be sued as well, because that's how defamation law works. So if I had money, I'd go sue every single one of them. David Shurter would be served. Blazin would be served. Liz would be served. TopFeedCoco, if I knew his name. Hoax, I know his name. Titus Frost. In fact, I would go ahead and sue Cicada 3301, because you know what? A lot of their board members are participating in this. Marcia Stockton, Chris McKinsey Jones. Well, Baby Fist is kind of on the fence. Matt Chapman. And then you got Thomas Schoenberger. Who's funding your lawsuit, Thomas Schoenberger? Is it coming out of Marcia Stockton's pocket? Is it coming out of Michael Levin's? Because if it is, and he's funding you for slap suits to protect your business, Cicada 3301, and you are doing this to people that you're suing, oh boy, I think you could sue Cicada. I really do. I'm thinking maybe that might be a possibility. Math Monday. This must be TopFeedCoco. Menopause is a nasty condition. Okay, so let's break this down. This is ageism. This is a slam that I'm a woman who is past menopause. I guess I should just be discarded in society, right? That is ageism. That is harassing a specific group, and you're banned from Not My Rabbit Hole, because we don't put up with that kind of thought here. We're progressive thinkers. All right, so so anyway, I'm going to play a couple of things before we get to David Shurter's latest, because I'm going to do a little bit of David Shurter. And oh, he's talking about Liz? Oh, shit. I'm sorry. Okay, I'll find you again. Okay, you are 817. Oh, but it's 81. It's. Oh, I know, you're making a joke about it. He's talking about Liz because he has Q in his name. I'm not going to bring him back. He's talking about Liz. Okay. Well, all of us. I'm pretty sure Blazin's is either in menopause or past menopause. Right? I mean, what's wrong with I kind of like it with past menopause. I really do. I feel like my head's clearer. I can focus better. I don't have to worry about getting pregnant. It's great. It's fantastic. All right, I'm going to play a couple of things before we get to David Shurter's latest, because I'm going to do a little bit of David Shurter. And I don't have to worry about getting pregnant. It's great. It's fantastic. The chin, the chin's on your hair, the hair's on your chin. No, that's not good. All right. I don't like having to shave my beard. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. Okay, here we go. This is a song that I created for David Shurter. I'll be right back.
Money for money. Grifter. Drifter. Money, money. Shifter. Donate. 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 Because I lie and cry. And that's the reason why. Money for the money. Grifter. Drifter. Money, money. Donate. 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 Because I lie and cry. And that's the reason why. Money for the money. Grifter. Drifter. Money, money. Shifter. Donate. 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 Because I lie and cry. And that's the reason why.
Complete with her hair. See the resemblance? I'll show one more.
Okay, okay, so I need to re-edit that. That is like, but still, I mean, I did that on suno.com. Wait, am I in here? Here. Oh, there I am. Okay. This video, I want to go back to, I was looking through my stuff and I found this video. Because I had this fake Fiona Barnett account come in and, say that they were going to go against David Shurter or whatever. But what's interesting about this, I'm going to just play to this part, is that I mentioned Sarah Rachel Adams coming into on Nasty Troll Media's threads. So Sarah, getting back to the whole Tash thing and using David Shurter to pay him to come after me, knowing that, all this other stuff has been going on. She's been in the background. I'm just showing this to kind of mark this here, real here. So the title of it is David Shurter and Fiona Barnett's sock account LARP. Okay. During my exposing Sarah Rachel Adams live stream and made accusations about David Shurter, not me. Another account said they were Doug Mesner, aka Lucian Greaves.
So the Fiona Barnett thing that she has is fake.
But one that's ongoing. See, I'm going to do an expose on David Shurter very soon. I've spoken to the nephew. Then the Fiona Barnett sock was offended and left my chat. I debunked the hoax and went on with the stream.
So the Fiona Barnett thing that she has is fake.
Well,
It's not.
apparently David didn't watch the whole show. I wasn't just making it up. I had a fake account, a sock account, disrupt my show. David Shurter accused me at the beginning of his 2025 live stream of saying that Fiona Barnett was going after him.
So the Fiona Barnett thing that she has is fake.
Keep up the good work, sister. Thank you. Thank you very much. Yeah. And again, this isn't about David Shurter, but it all kind of, well, in a sense, Sarah's profile has gone into David Shurter's chat to egg him on about me. So in a way, there is a David Shurter connection to this. So, okay, so that's what I said. It wasn't Nasty Tone Media. I said Sarah Adams had gone into David's chat to egg him on about me. Oh, okay. And this right here is like, it is an example. Terry's Joyce Q Patriot with the green face. That is an example of cyber stalking. That is when they take your name and take a picture of you, and that account still is still around. So I don't know. You were looking at, yeah. So I want to look back how long ago that video was. And that video was about, oh, that's not it. Oh, that's someone said about his pants. Those pants are hilarious, aren't they? His golf pants in that video. I think I want to re-edit that, and I want to use more of that in there. In the footage, so I think that would be fun. Shoot, I am really opening up things that I want to. That was 8 months ago, so I made that video 8 months ago where I mentioned Sarah Adams. So I saw that troll page last night when I looked up your stand-up. Oh, really? Okay, that's sad that it's coming up that quick. Next to my stand-up. See, that's why I need to get David Shurter shut down. That's why I need to get him shut down, because that's what they want to do. I mean, honestly, if somebody actually really looked at David Shurter and then and watched his videos, I think you would go, wow. No, if you look at them, yeah, I'm gonna have to take care of business on David Shurter in terms of criminal and legal action. He needs to take his stuff down off of me. But I have a blog too, and I said that today, and I have it written on it, and I have a Substack account, and I did get a journalism degree, so I'm going to start writing, David. I mean, if you want to play algorithm games on who's going to have the biggest have the numbers and the narrative, it's on, dude. Because that's what we're playing here, right? It's on. And you too, Sarah, because here's why it's so on. Because Sarah offered him $5,000 to take me down, and she almost killed Steve Harvey's daughter-in-law. And there's mainstream publications. That is great meta tagging. I'm just saying. And David, you're connected to that meta tag now. So let's go.
Just because I don't want to have to, this isn't going to be a long one. Tara Joyce was so kind that she put her controlled opposition, a list of people who are her controlled opposition.
Oh, it's now my controlled opposition. Just a month ago, it was Thomas Schoenberger's controlled opposition, but now I've taken second in command, I suppose.
In a post yesterday, you can go click on the description, It'll take you to the links. You can see.
Okay, and you know what? It's on my, he got that off of my community page. All right, and I believe I might have put it on X too, but I'm not going to put my community page on right now, but I will read it to you what I wrote, and you can look at it if you want. Let me see. Where did I write it? How long ago did I write this? Let me see. That's weird. Oh, here it is. No, I'm not seeing it. What is... Just give me a second. Oh, here it is. Yeah, I showed a picture of him, and I did this yesterday. At the 12:13 timestamp of David Shurter's live stream on 0/12/2025, Shurter attempts to whitewash his association with and the spreading of Thomas Schoenberger's defamation of me and others. Schoenberger and his associates, Denise Matau, Daniel Richard Columbus, a.k.a. Hoax Wars, Blazing Scar, Nancy Troll Media, TopFeedCoco, Lisa Lake, Titus Ross, Marsha Stockton, Chris McGinsey Jones, Arturo Tafoya, just to name a few, have cyberstalked, doxed, telephone harassed, threatened lawsuits, filed bogus copyright strikes, defamed, slandered, harassed, called my employment, and revealed the privacy of my family members. Still, you want to validate the information as accurate now. This is David Shurter. You were willing to accept $5,000 from Sarah R. Adams to bring me down, and you spread malicious lies about me and her ex-business partner to hinder Gil. This indicates that your integrity and ethics are compromised, as you were willing to take money to make defamatory comments on behalf of the buyer. This is a year of lawsuits and criminal actions, and if I were you, I would cease your online malicious defamation, because I, for one, seek restitution for what has been done to me. That is exactly what I wrote to David Shurter, and this is what he's saying. Okay?
What it was. I am grateful for this because I'm able to actually, it was this and the live yesterday that I went through. I believe that one of the people that was on there, the one that kept trying to say, oh, well, that account is being controlled by Doug Messner. Oh, that account is being controlled by Doug Messner. He kept saying that with everyone who would come forward and say something shitty. And I realized that Doug's game right now is, if I'm saying that everyone is Doug, then no one is Doug and he's nowhere around. That's the game he's playing. That's his objective with that whole situation. I believe that he was Andy Villa. I know damn well he's Johnny Depp. So with that said, and then Terry Joyce posted what she did. See, this is the game this group has going. Each side calls themselves a victim. So for a year and a half, when I was battling Thomas Schoenberger and Johnny Depp, who I believe is Lucian Greaves, and Chris McKenzie Jones, their whole argument was how I was being controlled and directed by Corey Daniel and Terry Joyce and Sewertown and blah, 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 blah. None of it was true. But then on the other hand, you had Corey Daniel and Daniel Dowd and Geo Farnsworth and Terry Joyce all claiming victimhood because I was being controlled and I was helping Thomas Schoenberger. So both sides claim victim. And so anyone who comes forward to try and call this shit out gets caught in all of this drama that is just complete and utter chaos and for the most part bullshit. And I'm sick and tired of hearing about, oh, well, I'm taking this person to court. Oh, they're great at manipulating the court system. Go look at Doug Mesner and his history.
You know what? Let's talk about your buddy Thomas Schoenberger, who now David Shurter. First, Thomas Schoenberger was he was telling people that Thomas Schoenberger were so in bed together that I should put on a strap on and bang him. That's what he's, and I'm saying it the soft version. All right, it's way more crude the way he said it on his channel. And then all of a sudden, when I came out and I spoke to one of his sheriffs, and he full on admitted to me that they knew that Thomas Schoenberger was giving him was doing the defamation and sending him emails all night long, even though Thomas tried to make us like we were against him with Thomas Schoenberger. So now he comes out and says he's with Thomas Schoenberger, and Thomas Schoenberger has given David all of his old defamation for David to regurgitate like it's brand new news. Right? Yeah, it's exactly what's happening. And then he wants to flip it around and say, oh, it's my controlled opposition against him. You know what, David? I have screenshots and evidence going way back that I can prove my declarations. So let's see your evidence. Because what I witnessed David Shurter doing this entire time was take their narrative. That includes Chris McGimsey Jones, who's also, given David Shurter money or bought his book and has admitted it openly, as well as Thomas Schoenberger giving him money. All David Shurter's done is take Thomas's defamatory emails about me, even coming through third party with screenshots where I'm being doxxed in them. And this has been going on for 2 years. And now, because his sheriff's department is full unaware of what's happening, they're trying to flip the narrative as if now, he thinks that Thomas is the truth teller above everybody else. It's the same thing, when Adam Camacho said, first Liz was against Owen Benjamin, and then she flipped and went against him. There's no difference in these type of actions. And I would say this is a trademark of the kind of actions that they do.
Because part of his history is taking people to court and suing them. And manipulating the court system to his advantage.
It's Thomas Schoenberger who's doing that. Doing slap suits and stuff like that. Trying to intimidate a student journalist, David, which I was at that time.
Which he brags about. He's been on national television bragging about. That's the reason why I say protection orders are their go-to, because they can get a protection order out on you, and then the cops that they're working with will just.
And let's talk about protection orders. That is something that I am seeking against David Shurter. I will be seeking it because of what he's done to me on the internet and how he's instigated people to come after me and other people. Like at this, and he's harming my business because my channel is monetized, and I consider this to be a leg of who I am and what I do in my career. So yeah, he is harming my business too. You can do a civil, I know in California you can get a civil restraining order. And David has numerous restraining orders, including the fact that he held a knife over his stepmother's head. Not only that, but he writes in his book, Confessions of an Antichrist, that he almost beat his puppy to death, and that he also he held a knife at the neck of one of his mother's acquaintances and threatened to slit it. These are the things that David tries to make excuses for and act like he doesn't have that in his history. He does have that in his history. And he was also, before he, like, when it would, he also got a restraining order against his neighbors because he said that they were, that there was directed energy weapons happening, bouncing off from his place, and they were scared about some of the things that he said about their baby. So he's had that restraining order, and the judge asked him to get mental evaluation. And what does he do? He doesn't do it, and he moves to Harlan, Iowa. So his mental wherewithal is seriously in question here.
Say, oh, well, they violated it. And then those people get shut up. They get incarcerated either in fucking mental institutions or jail. And Doug is really good at,
like, if I do pursue this, which I will, to get a protection order against David, and then also whatever civil harassment, whatever else I can get on David, because he should take down his defamation of me on all of his platforms, including his blog. Yeah, those are the things that are my right to do at this point. And you have a record of restraining orders, and I could pick out passages of your book, David Shurter, that you talk about doing violent things in too. Yeah, I think that may, you know what? I have a better defense than you do or would ever have. So if you don't think that I can't get a protection order and that I don't deserve one, that is what your rationale. David has no reflection on admitting to his actions.
that. He's really good. That was the reason why he was behind, but they do that to everyone, you know?
David has sent and told people the city I live in repeatedly, as well as Thomas Schoenberger, as well as Blazing Scar, as well as Nasty Troll Media. What do you think you're doing when you're saying all these awful, malicious lies that might upset people? What do you think someone might come and do and find me? You are inciting violence against me, David Shurter, and other people, and you are making other people unsafe. It is not our problem that you don't understand that, but it is our right to take action against you and protect ourselves from it. And if David Shurter thinks that is not a possibility and wants to rationalize it as the courts and everything, they're all pedos and they're all against you, that is like not healthy thinking. And it's certainly not somebody who's taking responsibility for the harm that he does to other people. And yeah, like I say, Sarah Rachel Adams needs to be called out because she's harming other people by her business. You're harming other people and their safety on the internet, as well as you, Thomas Schoenberger, who is a felon who's been convicted as a felon on stalking charges. You also have a background that does not work in your favor at this point legally. In this situation.
Timothy Homestead, the minute he started saying that there was a child trafficking operation going on in Broward County in Florida, they had a protection order out on him. And then he broke the protection order. Let me remind everyone.
Yeah, that's another thing. And I'm just going to play that portion right there because really it's redundant from that point on. But yeah, he finds and uses people like David so that he can claim it's not him. Yeah, he does. But the problem is now, for Thomas, and I don't know, right? I mean, like, I'm sure you're where they're at right now. I think where we have leverage is that David has now come out and admitted it. He's definitely using the same thing that Thomas said before. You can see him posting on his blog. Let's take a look at David Shurter's blog really quick before we go. And but in the meantime, I would like to play this for you from my in my media assets. Let's go with this one here. This is something I find interesting.
I know exactly what I have to do. I'm going to sell out.
So yeah, Terry Joyce is some kind of idiot. So if you guys want to get involved, I've been asked to send people after Terry Joyce and those people. So if you're gonna want to get involved, if you want to be my crew, then if you want to support the All Seeing You.
Let me go back to what he said right here. He told people to come. He told people that he was told to have people come after me. These people, like, you know, for example, David Shurter, who's gone off about me, calling me a child trafficker. Somehow I'm attacking Nathan Stoltman when I'm basically trying to really kind of get help of what has happened to me. And a lot of you guys don't really know this, or maybe you do know this. Maybe you do know the level of harassment and cyber stalking that I have experienced since being on Nathan Stoltman's show, which he denies that I'm on.
Anyway, so Terry Joyce starts talking about how she's gone on Lift the Veil, Nathan Stoltman's Lift the Veil. Well, Nathan Stoltman then leaves a comment on the post that I did this morning, sending people to my website, and told me that not only has he not interviewed Terry Joyce lately on Lift the Veil, he's never interviewed her, ever. And in fact, doesn't even do it anymore because of the harassment that he's had to be put through.
Okay, so in other words, Terry has the experience, has been in there, and we're going to talk about the story of how she ended up at this, Hollywood party, where things happen that she's going to describe to you. We, in the title, that's what she called it in the title to a video a couple years ago when she told this story for the first time. But she's a comedian. It's the name given to something kind of to take away from the serious of it. I could tell it was actually a little traumatic.
I was beginning to feel that I was the sacrifice, and that whatever was going on around the corner on that wiffle ball court was not going to be a good scenario for me. And another thing that I want to reiterate, make sure everybody hears this, and why I suspect it even more, is when I was leaving.
Okay, so yeah, that's so I'm going to change this QR code. If you want to listen to my interview with Nathan Stoltman that was denied that I was ever on, you can listen to it from my Rumble. So that is the QR code to the Rumble, recording of my full interview with Nathan Stoltman. But and it's not like I want to. I really wish I could bury that interview, to be honest with you. But I did have this creepy experience at a party that I went to. And there was this big statue outside of a big reptile that wasn't there the first time that I was there. And then when I got creeped out by the conversation, this woman came out and said, I said, there's a lot of negative energy in there. And she says, what do you think? We're at a reptilian party. Okay, these things really happened. I know I'm laughing, but there were some really creepy things that happened at that party, and I was spooked. And it happened back in 2017, and I talked about it on American Freedom Radio, and went on some other podcasts and talked about it, and then when I got into Nathan Stoltman, I had a different viewpoint because 2 years had passed, and I revealed some things about the inner workings of what I thought was going on with the 17th letter of the alphabet in correlation to what I was talking about. I think at that point, that put me on the list of what's happening right now. That's my kind of take about it, because ever since then, my life hasn't really been quite the same. And there's characters like Thomas Schoenberger in here. So, I mean, I could be wrong, but that's kind of how my instinct feels about this right now. And what's happened. Right. Okay. So, oh yeah, I'm gonna sell out. yeah, I had to clip that. That was I'm gonna sell out. Okay. So here's what David Shurter has posted on his blog in relation to this argument. Okay. And porn actress and child trafficker Terry Joyce making herself out as a victim and my rebuke of her. So he's taken what I posted on my YouTube community change and shared it on his page, and with this title, and so that's him rebuking me. No, that's malicious slander of defamation, repeating something that Thomas Schoenberger and Hoax Wars said, and Becky and TopFeedCoco and everybody else. And let's go to here. This is what I just read you, right? I didn't show it to you, but he's taken a screenshot of my page. And here I say, you were willing to accept $5,000 from Sarah R. Adams to bring me down, and you spread malicious lies. So he's posting this as if this is evidence against me and not him, which I find interesting. And it's a large, filed bogus copyright strikes, called my employment, revealed the privacy of my family members, but you want to validate his information as accurate now. That is true. And I can prove it. And I have police filings about it now. There's a with the campus police at Fresno City College, and it's now filed at Fresno State with the campus police, and there is a record of this telephone harassment happening with the Fresno Police Department. Okay, I say I have evidence, David, that this happened. Thomas, you were willing to accept $5,000. All right. And you know what? I am going to play that short as well of David accepting, admitting that she did it, just to hammer the nail in the coffin even further. Yeah, that's what we're going to end on today. Pretty much. Not my rabbit hole. So give me a second. I'm going to play maybe one more song, look at the chat, show this video, and then we'll be going on. I'm going on. I did a longer show than I thought I was going to do today. Normally I don't like to go over 2 hours, but there's a lot happening. There's a lot happening. There's a lot of people involved. Oh, I haven't played this one in a while. This is like the type of song it is. I don't know. I don't even know what that is. It's a genre that I go, yeah. Let me try this. Let me try this genre on Suno. And on this song is really inspired by Nathan Stoltman.
You're caught in a lie, and I know why. Tangled truths won't fly, you can't deny. Think you'll vanish, but have no fear. You're bound, you're found, you're here, my
end when there's like that scream at the end. Okay, that's kind of like how I felt when I was talking to Top Feed Coco the other night. I don't know. I'm laughing at it. Okay, so here is my short on David. David admitting that Sarah offered him $5,000. And you know what? I posted this. I did. I put this on Instagram, Facebook, everything. It's on TikTok. And my friends were like, who don't know anything about what's going on pretty much on this, because I don't share this stuff on some of my platforms. And they were like blown away. They're like, what? Who's Sarah R. Adams? And you know, I had no problem letting them know who she was. So I think it's like over 1,000 views on Instagram or something like that. Okay, here we go.
When I die.
Oh, wait,
I want to give you $5,000 to help me bring down Tara Joyce. What they wanted was for me to take Sarah Adams' bullshit on Tara Joyce and run with it. Word of advice. Next time, instead of promising me $5,000 and telling me how you're friends with all these billionaires and how you have millions and millions and millions of dollars, you should have just sent me the $5,000.
Okay, so that sounds so much like Sarah, doesn't it? I mean, I've heard her say stuff like that. I have all these celebrity friends, blah, blah, blah. I have millions of dollars, blah, blah, blah. And he's saying, oh, you should have just done it. So he has a price. Let's go back. Go back.
Instead of promising me $5,000 and telling me how you're friends with all these billionaires and how you have millions and millions and millions of dollars, you should have just sent me the $5,000. I want to give you $5,000 to help me bring down Tara Joyce. What they wanted was for me to take Sarah Adams' bullshit on Tara Joyce.
So that's when he flipped. All right. That's when he realized that like his whole Sarah Adams thing, because she had the police investigations, almost killing Steve Harvey's kids. Okay. And you know, all of that stuff, Sarah is a big deal in a certain community. And this is a big fall for her right now. And because he knows it has legs, now he's going to backtrack and try to act like I was involved with Sarah to set him up. And that's exactly the kind of stuff that David Shurter's done. We've all witnessed it. We've all witnessed all these people do this. I destroyed it. Yeah. I went back and listened to that and I was like, I don't know what happened to me. You know, I'm not like, it's very rare that I do that. Like I usually like for me, because I don't really feel good being like, but if someone's going to come at me, I you know, I am capable of just, you know, yeah. And I don't feel bad about what I did either. Not when it comes to TopFeedCoco. It was beyond my control. And that's how I say it. Like this is what my mother says when something like that happens, or you know, like if I bust something, or I do a comedy show, or I go after a heckler, you know, it's from a line from Dangerous Liaisons, where the character that John Malkovich plays, he says, you know, when he's trying to push you know, well, let's talk about Dangerous Liaisons, because there's something about that's kind of similar to what's going on here, really. You know, we can think of like the Glenn Close characters being like Thomas Schoenberger, right? Or someone like that, just loves cruelty. You know, let's put Liz in there, and you know, as Glenn Close, and you know, she's looking at John Malkovich, who's just in love with somebody else. You know, like finally, like he was supposed to just mess around and have sex and, you know, do whatever, manipulate people with, you know, whatever, deflower the virgin, all that stuff, right? And so he, you know, like he's going to the, you know, the Michelle Pfeiffer character, and he's like, you know, he's going off on her and saying that he, you know, what, you know, how he's going to end everything. And then he says, it's beyond my control. So I want to thank everybody for being here today. It's such a pleasure to see you here. Adam and John and Sewer King and Pavana. And I think Angela G was here, and Aiken and the Lord of Darkness. And, you know, because here's the deal. You know, I respect you guys, and I know that you have gone through what I'm going through, and you know, yeah, I guess they are worried, because there is there is strength in numbers. And we are an interesting group, hodgepodge of people from different backgrounds that even politically may not see eye to eye, but somehow we understand each other and we have an alliance. And I really do appreciate your support. And on that note, I'm just going to say whatever happened today on this podcast is beyond my control.
He ain't no Saint Germain, no crown, no name. He plays the game sharp as a flame. Who's to blame for the stolen fame? A shadow dance in the devil's frame. Go in the rabbit hole, losing control, spinning wild on a stripper pole. Laughing loud, all for the lows, but baby, that's not my rabbit hole. City lights and sirens scream, truth and lies blend like a dream. Wicked smiles, a clever scheme, chasing gold in the neon gleam. Go in the rabbit hole, losing control, spinning wild on the stripper pole. Laughing loud, all for the lows, but baby, that's not my rabbit hole. Fast, can't find the ground. Echoes of chaos all around. You chose this dance, this mad parade, but not every choice gets accolades. Go in the rabbit hole, losing control, spinning wild on the stripper pole. Laughing loud, all for the lows, but baby, that's not my rabbit hole. Spinning wild on the stripper pole. Laughing loud, all for the lows, but baby, that's not my rabbit hole. City lights and sirens scream, truth and lies blend like a dream. Wicked smiles, a clever scheme, chasing gold in the neon gleam. Going down the rabbit hole, losing control, spinning wild on the stripper pole. Laughing loud, all for the lows, but baby, that's not my rabbit hole.